Welcome back, friends. Today we're going to be making a bacon wrapped cheese spinach stuffed pork loin roast with glazed carrots, homemade applesauce, and creamy mashed potatoes. It's going to be delish, so let's get to it. Hello everyone, I'm DIY Deborah, and welcome to my channel, where we'll be covering food, recipes, lifestyle, and DIY, specializing in gluten and dairy-free. If this is something that you enjoy, please come along with me. We're first going to start by taking a small yellow onion and dicing it up into small pieces. We're going to be transferring it into an oil-lined frying pan and frying the onions until they're translucent. We don't want them like really caramelized or really well done. We would just like them to be lightly translucent. We're going to add these onions to the spinach cheese stuffing. This is what we're making first. If you enjoy my content, the recipes that I make on this channel, some DIY and gardening tips, then be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload new videos. It really helps support my channel. Thanks so much. Once we're finished with our onions, we're then going to take a couple of cups of whole spinach and steam it to be able to add to our cream cheese stuffing. We're then going to braise our pork tenderloin in a hot oily pan on each side. We're now going to make our spinach cream cheese stuffing. We're going to take one 8-ounce container of a non-dairy cream cheese, the juice of a half of a fresh lemon. We're going to add our fried onions. We're also going to add about a teaspoon of minced garlic and our steamed spinach. Now, the nice hot onions and spinach will soften the cream cheese, though I did take it out and add it to the dish a little bit beforehand so that it would be soft. I'm then going to add a half a cup of this Parmesan cheese die shreds. So this recipe is completely gluten and dairy free. Once we've combined all of our ingredients, we're going to stir and mix well until the stuffing is nice and creamy and smooth. Now, if you don't happen to use all of this mixture to stuff your pork loin, if there is some left over, then my suggestion is add some mayonnaise or vegan mayo and turn it into a fabulous, delicious spinach dip. You can keep it in the fridge and have it with pretzels or chips or vegetables. It's going to be so good, I promise you. So yeah, that is all there is to making this delicious, creamy, dairy-free cheese spinach stuffing for our pork loin roast. For spices, I'm adding black pepper, Himalayan salt, and some paprika. I just eyeball it, but about a teaspoon of each would be perfect. Mix until smooth. Then you're going to take your pork loin, that's a tongue twister. We're going to take our roast, slice it in the side, spread it open, and add your cheese stuffing. Then we're going to be taking some gluten-free bacon, And I guess, yes, there is a difference between bacon and gluten-free bacon, as sometimes gluten is a thickener or a preservative, so you want to make sure that you purchase some gluten-free bacon. So once we stuff our pork loin, we're then going to wrap it in 4 or 5 slices of bacon, take our toothpicks and kind of hold it all together to roast in our little roasting pan. I struggled with this a little bit because this is actually the first time I have made this recipe. So bear with me as I put on the bacon, and yeah. Then we'll put it in our roasting pan. We're going to bake it for approximately an hour in the oven at 350. And once it is close to being done, I am going to remove the lid of the pork loin roast and broil it for a couple of minutes until the bacon and the top of the roast is nice and brown. It's going to look fabulous. You will see this part coming up shortly. So I placed this roast in a little Corelle, little like roasting dish. It's not very big. It probably will serve 2 to 4 people. So yeah, that's what I bake it in the center of the oven at 350 degrees. I also add a tiny little bit of water into the bottom of the roasting pan to ensure that it doesn't dry out and burn. Fits perfectly. It was like this dish was made for this roast. Now that our roast is in the oven, I'm now going to move on to making our sides. I'm going to be making some glazed carrots, some creamy mashed potatoes, and some homemade applesauce. So I take about 6 or 8 small carrots, peel them, dice them, put them in the water in a saucepan with salt and pepper, and boil until ready. I usually start off with making the carrots first because they will take longer to boil than making the applesauce or the mashed potatoes. Add your salt and pepper. Once they are completely boiled and ready, we're then going to take them off the stove and drain off the water. I'm going to be adding a pat of a vegan butter or margarine and a couple of tablespoons of coconut sugar. I preferred a light dusting of coconut sugar. It's really nice and caramelized and will make your carrots a little bit sweet without being too sweet. Yeah, I just prefer coconut sugar, so if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. Next, we're going to go on and make our applesauce. I have a bag of McIntosh apples. Now, I usually make my homemade applesauce with McIntosh apples, but whatever you prefer as your favorite variety of apples, go ahead and use whatever you have. So I cut up about 8 small apples and core and peel them. Put them in a saucepan. I add a little bit of water, some cinnamon, and coconut sugar. I do like adding sugar to my applesauce, but to ensure that it's not like sickeningly sweet, it's good to add a coconut sugar as the glycemic index is really low in coconut sugar. It gives it a nice caramel dark texture. It's just really delicious. So you will see here shortly how it turns out. I also, when I mash my applesauce, I leave it a little bit chunky. I don't mix it with a mixer or anything like that so that it's really smooth, as we like our applesauce to have a little bit of chunks in it and have some texture. So once the apples and everything are all ready to boil, I'll put them in a saucepan on a stove on higher heat. Once they come to a boil, I will turn it down to medium heat. I'll keep the lid on and let them simmer until the apples are soft and ready for mashing. Once they are mashed and all ready, I'm going to transfer them into a resealable glass bowl to put in the fridge if there's any left over. Yeah, there's your homemade applesauce. We're now going to move on to making creamy mashed potatoes. So I take about 8 good-sized potatoes, peel them, dice them, put them in a saucepan, fill them with water until they're covered. I will add some salt and pepper and let them boil until they are soft. You can just use the fork test, and once you poke them, if they fall apart or break apart, or the fork goes in the potatoes really easily, then they're done. You're then going to drain off the water. I add a couple of pats of a vegan butter or margarine, salt and pepper, and there you will have some delicious, easy peasy, dairy-free homemade mashed potatoes. Now, if you want them to be a lot creamier than we have them here, you can add a original almond or plant-based milk. Once I put the pot of potatoes on the stove to bring to a boil, I start them off on high heat. Once they come to a boil, I will reduce to low-medium heat so that they don't boil over, and just let them cook until they're done. This should take approximately 20 minutes, depending on the size of the pot of potatoes that you're cooking. Now that our potatoes are all ready and mashed and good to go, we're then going to check on our roast, remove the lid, turn the oven to broil, and let the top of the roast broil for a couple of minutes until a beautiful golden brown. Look at this beautiful, delicious, bacon wrapped, spinach cheese stuffed pork loin roast with all the fixins. I really hope you enjoyed this video today, and thank you for joining me. I really appreciate all of you that watch and love you all so much. We'll see you again soon, friends. Bye-bye!